Unleash the power of knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app now on Google Play and Apple App Store. Stay informed with authentic and diverse perspectives, breaking news, and cultural insights. Immerse yourself in a community that celebrates unity, resilience, and progress. Experience the vibrancy of the diaspora at your fingertips. Don't miss out. Empower your perspective today. Search African Diaspora News Channel and join the conversation.
Peace, family. My name is Vicki Dillard for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to give the video a big thumbs up and share it with you. That way other folks will know that we're here, and it helps to generate notifications, family. Thank you so very much, family. You all, hopefully some of you, I know for sure, have seen my coverage on former presidential candidate and Senator and Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. Yes, of course, I have been discussing her for years. That's with an S plural, for a long time. So before she ran for office, before Joe Biden picked her, prior to all that, I was covering her. So some folks are just now tuning in. So when you bring up stuff, because they're the newness of it all, they want to check you and want to project their newness onto you in ill motives. And so there's nothing wrong with being new. It's just something wrong with being new when you're the newest in the class and trying to tell the master teachers how to do stuff. Where's my gavel already? We ain't even started the video. Good. Talk black to me, somebody. If you don't know, the Vicki Show is a home of the hand claps and the gavel raps. And folks have been asking me how they can get in on this. So I have some little mini gavels on my website at VickiPlanet.com. By the way, that's a side note. They look like this. They're powerful, and I pray over them so they're real, just yummy. Anyway, and I brought this here too because, Kamala Harris, of course, she was a former attorney general for the state of California. Yes. And of course, she broke all kind of ties when she was in the Senate. So she used the gavel, of course, being the Vice President of the United States. I want you all to know that we hold court here, and our decisions are the one that holds weight. We're controlling the narrative. Somebody say, prove it, Vicki. Well, the Democrats lost the White House. They lost the Senate. They lost the House of Representatives. Those are all things we pushed here in alternative black media. So we don't need to prove nothing else. The results prove it out. I want us to learn from and also to identify different levels, levers of power. Yes. One of the things that I wanted to talk about a long time ago, which I talked about an aspect of this. How many of y'all saw many months ago, prior, during the election campaign, I played for you all a portion of a speech from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. By the way, I had a direct confrontation with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. over his opposition to reparations. That's a different story. Perhaps I'll do another segment on that later. But this same Robert F. Kennedy, after he was running for president, he ended up suspending his campaign, right? He ended up endorsing Trump. Of course, he initially, for those of you that don't know, was a lifelong Democrat. He was being pushed out by the Democrats. He was being mistreated by the Democrats. And so because of the way they came against him, he decided to back Trump, yes, and move the way that he moved. And of course, they tried to stop him at every turn, even when he was running for president. They tried to obstruct him. They spent millions of dollars to try to stop him in court, on and on and on. It's crazy. And I certainly don't agree with everything that he's doing, but I don't disagree with everything that he's doing either. And it's a shame that the Democrats were the ones that spent a lot of money to try to silence and stop him. So it's no wonder they got the results they got. Well, there's something that went under the rug, in my opinion, that I think we need to discuss now. Watch this clip.
She's a woman named Sherry Peebles. And Sherry, are you here? Will you stand up if I can point you out? Okay, so Sherry Peebles is an African-American woman who has a daughter, Shayna, a straight-A student. She missed 60 days of school because she was in a hospital because she had sickle cell anemia. And her mom, Sherry, filled out all the forms, the federal and the state forms, explaining why she was missing her school. She did her schoolwork every day. She got straight A's, as I said. But Kamala Harris was the Attorney General of California. And Kamala Harris learned that the state was losing $1.3 billion a year because of truancy. And she said, I want that money. So I'm going to start putting parents in jail whose children skip too much school. Oh, she arrested Sherry Peoples in her home. The police came in and handcuffed her. And when she said, why am I being handcuffed? The police said to her, talk to Kamala Harris. They didn't want to be doing it either. She lost her job. She lost her home. And she still raised an extraordinary child. Don't you want a president of the United States who's going to end chronic disease rather than putting parents in jail?
Now, yes, I know y'all going to say, Vicki, you've been talking about this for years, about Kamala Harris going after parents and locking them up, that especially in California, that this, of course, the lockup policy that she had, the truancy policy to lock up parents, and as unjust as it was, as misdirected as it was, she didn't use any other means to get the parents, to talk to the parents to understand why their babies were not coming to school, right? But he revealed something that the public didn't talk about a lot. Not just the fact that it disproportionately affects Black people. And of course, the woman that he specifically named and has stand up in the audience is Sherry Peoples, which is a Black woman. Yes, her daughter Shayna has sickle cell anemia, missed 60 days of school, as he mentioned. Because of Kamala's diabolical policy, she lost her job, she lost her home, so forth and so on, right? Watch this. He gave us a secret. He said the reason why Kamala Harris did this in the first place is because she found out that the state could be making another $1.3 billion if she attacked the truancy issue. Do you all understand how your politicians can cloak something that they claim they're doing righteously, but it has a money motive? No wonder she was so harsh. No wonder she didn't sit down and try to understand what was going on. She was just randomly picking folks, you understand, and making a spectacle before the cameras. And in this instance, over a legitimately sick child. And the mother filed all the paperwork with the school so that there wouldn't be any issues. And she destroyed her job. She destroyed her home. That's the reason why you can't just say, well, let's go after the parents then. The parents, the one that puts the roof over the child's head and feeds the child. Go after that one. Go after the one that has a sick child that's trying to take care of the sick child. I want you all to ask yourself and to look into the fact of how did this information come to her about this $1.3 billion that they were losing? Who encouraged her to do it, if anybody? Which I think most of us would know that there's certainly somebody that was behind that. When she resisted the courts, this is a separate issue now, when she resisted the courts from releasing prisoners after the courts told her that the prisons there in California and the jails there were over capacity, it was causing folks to literally die and become sick. And they issued an order for her to release prisoners, which in the United States, you hardly ever find the courts do that. She stalled the courts. She resisted the courts so much so that the courts legitimately considered holding her in contempt of court. I want to know what's behind that. And I want to know, Black family, are we able to identify billions of dollars that are already sitting in different government agencies that can be redirected to us and our needs to get us our tangibles? How many of y'all know I keep breaking down the fact that during the medical pandemic situation, how many of you all know the Asian community in the United States said that they were experiencing more racism than ever before? So they managed to get a bill that specifically benefited their community. And they had overwhelming support from both Republican and Democrats. They gave them a crime bill. Aside from that, tens of millions of dollars, at least $50 million was directed to just their community. They didn't need any congressional approval or bill for that. The Democrats redirected tens of millions of dollars that was already in the government to their community. What creative way could the Democrats and the Republicans right now be sending tangibles to Black folks? This is why I bring this up to you, so that you can meet in your respective cities, states, and towns and counties and put your beautiful black minds together and figure out what we can do to get them to cut the check. Just because Trump is in office don't mean, baby, we're going to let up on the pressure. My name is Vicki Dillard, beloved. Be sure to check out my website at Vicki